Let me introduce you to our keynote speaker, pharmacist Tesfay Menghis. He is a pharmacist. He's been a pharmacist for 46 years. And he's one of the first pharmacists in Eritrea. He is actually the owner of Cathedral Pharmacy. He's one of our pioneer pharmacists, and he is one of the founders of EriPCo. EriPCo is Eritrean Pharmacist Association, a professional pharmacist association back home in Asmara, Eritrea. He has served as a president and vice president for a few times there. He is our advisory council at EriPCo, and he proved to be very valuable. He provided us already with very valuable information, and we hope that we'll have a great communication and great working relationship with Mr. Tesfay. He is also a published author here in the United States of 2 books. Mr. Tesfay is a well-accomplished pharmacist and a tennis player, and also a published author. Please join me in welcoming him to be our keynote speaker today. Baba Tesfay, the mic is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Michael. I'm indeed honored and privileged for this opportunity. Dear board, executive, and esteemed members of EriPCo, first, allow me to express my gratitude for the honor and opportunity extended to me to deliver a keynote address to the first semi-annual general meeting of EriPCo. Please join me in congratulating the executive committee for their determination, hard work, and perseverance. Through their dedication, they have not only made EriPCo a reality, but have also broken the glass ceiling of male domination. They have thus brought together not only their peers, but also their lecturers, mentors, and many other senior professionals. This is not a small feat, especially when we consider that all of them are not only top-notch professionals, but also mothers and ladies taking care of children, parents, and families. When the executive members extended this invitation to me, they knew I am past the age of inspiring any audience with an in-depth pharmaceutical or scientific knowledge and insight. Thus, I have nothing else to offer except the professional experience and life wisdom I was fortunate enough to acquire and amass over the years. Moreover, they have also graciously granted me a free hand to deliver a keynote address on any topic of my choice. Since experience is my only specialty now, my address might not be what you might expect of a keynote address, of a typical keynote address. In line with that, I have taken the liberty of choosing a subject that is close to my heart. Allow me first to tell you a short story. By the time I graduated in 1970, there were a total of about 6 pharmacists in Eritrea, including myself. We decided to form a pharmacy association, and we applied to the concerned authorities. This was during the era of the Emperor Haile Selassie, before the Derg took over. Of course, we were denied permission. We were told that we could only be a branch of the National Ethiopian Pharmacists Association. The paradox was, at the time, Pharmacists Association was still non-existent in Ethiopia. I remember to this day what one of us asked the authorities. But how can we be a branch of a tree that does not exist? Anyway, we had to wait another 22 years before we were able to establish the first Eritrean Pharmaceutical Association in 1992. It was the first professional association established in the country. I wanted to tell you this small story to illustrate the eagerness, enthusiasm, passion, and determination we had, and my joy and pride to see that the flame is still burning strong in our children. And now, 50 years later, I have the pleasure and the blessing of witnessing the establishment of EriPCo in the US, which hopefully will eventually encompass most professionals around the world. Let me go back now to my topic. I'm going to speak today about the concept of giving and sharing in any capacity by however and whatever means. However, before I delve into the concept of giving and sharing, let me mention a pertinent historical background that has a bearing on the subject and is relevant to us Eritreans. Eritrean communities had survived for hundreds of years, by giving and sharing what little they had. They cared for one another by supporting each other and shouldering responsibilities that other members of their families and communities could not do. They had no institutions that cared for the orphaned, the widowed, the bereaved, the old, or people with mental and physical disability. They had no police to keep the peace or prisons to incarcerate wrongdoers. They made it with what they had. They had customary laws that governed their lives and enabled them to live fairly and justly in peace and harmony. Unlike modern laws and constitutions, which require much protection and nurturing, these laws were not mere words written on paper. They were ways of life imprinted and embalmed within their hearts. In short, they were principles by which they lived. This is an exemplary and exceptional legacy which should not only be cherished, but also followed and emulated. In the last 40 to 50 years, a wrong notion that assumes one can only serve one's community or country only if one is a politician or an active political player has crept into our thinking and has paralyzed us Eritreans. As a result, most of us have withdrawn from all community involvements into our own shells and become bystanders. I believe this is one of the tragedies that has beleaguered us Eritreans, and that's why, even when compared with other African communities, the status of our community in the diaspora is not in an enviable state. I'm not trying to deny the importance of politics or politicians and how it affects and permeates every facet of our lives. It's extremely important and it needs our attention. However, everything is not about politics, and all of us don't have to be politicians. Moreover, not all of us have the capacity, the calling, or the stomach for it. We should understand that there is so much the rest of us can do outside of politics in other areas, in other ways, either individually or collectively. Collectively, we can join or form associations, civic and community organizations to assist struggling individuals and underserved communities and populations. The sum of these seemingly small contributions will eventually have a big positive impact on many communities and the needy. We should recognize that one of the most important factors that contribute to nation building is building strong, cohesive, peaceful, collaborative, and supportive communities. Professional associations, societies, and community and civic organizations are part of the building blocks that nurture and strengthen communities and nations. Thus, they have a very, very vital role to play. Let me now go to the concept of of giving and sharing. And I will start with a question. Why should we give back and share at all? Why? The short answer is precisely because We ourselves were, in the first place, given and gifted. We are where we are today because many others have given and slaved on our behalf while denying themselves opportunities. All of us can recount amazing and touching stories of enormous opportunities given to us by our parents, siblings, families, teachers, neighbors, and communities who were all instrumental in helping us to be where we are today. This means those of us who were lucky to be given and had an immense head start over those that were not as fortunate as we were. It should be stressed and noted here that even the special mental and physical endowments we pride ourselves in are gifts which we received from God, nature, luck, or whatever we want to call it. As a result, some of us are more gifted than others to accomplish certain mental and physical tasks, while others, unfortunately, must struggle. One thing that's clear, and we can agree on, is that opportunities and gifts are not generally spread equally to everyone for reasons we cannot fathom. If we understand and accept this, then we should be humble enough to acknowledge that our successes are not entirely ours. A lot of it is given and gifted to us. Thus, we shouldn't run away and abandon the very communities that enabled us to be where we are today. We should try to give back a little of what we received so that more people like us would get the opportunities we got. This is the only way we can make a difference and have an impact on the colleagues, friends, families, and communities we have left behind. Unfortunately, more so today than ever, those small communities and countries who continuously and selflessly give and are the most needy have become the ones who do not get anything in return. It is sad to see that it is the ones who did not sow that are reaping other people's harvest. Whenever we talk about giving, the type of things we give, the quality, quantity, or content does not matter at all, as long as we give back according to our possibilities, inclinations, and comfort zones. In this respect, the few of us who have received special advantage to go freely to schools, colleges, and universities, or gifted with special endowments, have an added responsibility. Since voluntarism and voluntary work is the cornerstone of giving and sharing, we should encourage and nurture it at every step. We are at our best when we do something that we deeply believe in and put our hearts and souls into it. This means we are at our best when we feel and show love. As is famously said, we can give without loving, but we can never love without giving or sharing. I will repeat that. We can give without loving, but we can never love without giving or sharing. I also strongly believe that our nature is such that we are at our happiest when we give and share. We have to understand that whenever we give, we also receive. All the great books of wisdom say, it is in giving that there is true receiving. And my experience of the last 76 years has time and again amply substantiated and validated to me the truth of that statement. When we give or share, we receive things that money does not buy, like health, happiness, sound sleep, peace of mind, and gratification. Even when we are not able to give or share materially, we can still offer a kind word, which by itself is an act of charity and goodwill. We can thus encourage the sick, solace and cheer the bereaved, teach the eager, inspire the hopeless, reassure the doubtful, and embolden the fearful. In this manner, We can foster a culture of collaborative communities where the strong help the weak, the healthy help the sick, the young help the old, and the able-bodied help those with a disability. I believe this is a better way forward, especially for us and other communities like us. If community problems were solved merely with the power of finance and huge institutions alone, the US would have met the health and education needs of all its citizens a long time ago. So that's not the only way forward. The other thing is, one of the laws of nature is to procreate and multiply. Anything that's not shared or multiplied will eventually wither away and die. However, if we give and share, our mark and imprint will thrive and live in others. That's actually how Numot እንብለጸላ, or how we beat death. I was singularly lucky and honored to have been privileged to serve for 46 years the very community that raised and educated me. I didn't feel that community service alone was enough to repay my debt to the community. On top of the urge to give back, I also strongly believed it would be a waste to take with me to the grave the amazing and immense wisdom I was fortunate enough to learn from the community. So to repay my full debt and beat death, I chose writing, which fortunately also seems to be my calling. That's one of the reasons why I have already published 2 books in the last 3 years, and I am in the process of publishing more, God willing. In conclusion, for those of us who have been given plenty, giving and sharing is not only an act of charity or goodwill, but is also a moral responsibility. As they say, death is the only thing that we can't divide and share. Life can be shared and divided. I would like to repeat it. Death is the only thing that cannot be shared or divided. Life can be shared and divided. So let's give some of our blessings and share the blessings of life. In that manner, we will continue to live long after our bodies cease to exist. Thank you, and God bless you all.